Well, I'm back again with another update, okay? This one is massive, guys. This update is so massive. So, a dev has some crazy news for us on how wars work, open world PvP, territory, influence gain, and their vision for it and everything. Stuff it's pretty crazy. All right, let's pop it up. So, Zin Remu, new world developer, okay? I'm going to read parts of it. I don't want to, this is pretty massive. I'm not going to just read it word for word. So, okay, let me just read this part, though, the intro. Before we dive in, I want to apologize for all the issues we've seen in war so far, and thank you for your patience as we work to resolve them. I know there have been some serious lag issues in war and a number of exploits, including the invulnerability exploits, that have marred your experience. We've made an initial set of changes to address some of the issues, and are working on some higher impact changes that need more testing. It is a top priority for the team to get war to a stable, performant state where the skill and coordination of the best team determines the outcome. Let's start by reiterating our high-level vision. We want to create a game where PvE and PvP are not only coexist, but support each other. We also want wars, not ganks, meaning we want to support meaningful PvP and war and the open world conflict between the three factions. Okay, so that's like their vision of what they're like, their opening statement on this huge, information dump. So right now, the rewards for flagging while leveling up are good. A 10% XP bonus is nice and all. The rewards are meaningful, but the problem they have is at the end game, the rewards are not good, and I agree with that 100%. So there are two changes coming in the short term. The first is that they are going to increase the luck of players when flagged. So I hope you guys are ready for PvP, because now you know when you go to Merkgard or Ambusti or any of those places, Siren Stand or anything, any 60+ place, you're going to see a lot more people flagged for PvP because they want that luck. That is a massive incentive to flag PvP, guys. That is huge. This should be an important lasting benefit. It's true. Now, second, we are going to reduce the durability damage to gear when flagged. So you guys won't have to pay crap tons of coins anymore for dying in level 60 PvP because, in the long at PvP, endgame repair costs are massive. So, it discourages you. So they're going to try to, reduce that discouragement. Then in the medium term, so I'm assuming they mean by medium term, my assumption is they mean like, in December or something, maybe January by that time. We will also adjust the rewards for PvP kills at 60 so they can enhance players' high watermark. So I think they say it vaguely like that because I guarantee they haven't decided yet on how they want to make that look. Like their vision isn't clear on that. So, but one example of what they could do and what they could mean would be, so right now, if you get level 60 gear, like if you kill level 60 enemies and you don't get an increase to your watermark, then it makes it so the next enemy you kill has a higher chance of giving you a new watermark. And if that enemy doesn't give a higher watermark, the next one will have a higher, even higher chance, and on and on and on. And then you finally get a new watermark, and that bonus resets. And I would assume one way they could do this, as an example for you guys, would be every time you get a PvP kill, it increases your chance of getting a new high watermark on your next either PvP kill or PvE kill or whatever, and do that by a substantial amount. Maybe do it relative to how long the guy's been alive, the same way XP drops. I don't know. There's a lot of options for them, but something like that is what they're like thinking about doing. And then longer term, they want to make an activity that flagged players can participate in that we hope spurs and rewards some smaller scale engagements across. I never learned how to say the name of the world. I'm not going to say it. Okay, so then in addition to rewards, we understand some gameplay issues. So this is stuff, I have a lot of hardcore PvPers in my company, so I've heard them complain about this stuff. I agree. Currently, it's hard to know whether players in your faction are flagged or not. It can make it difficult to know whether or not to engage or what to assess what's happening. They understand that combat tactics can be difficult because the visuals for area of effect spells are all the same. So, unfortunately for that, it's not a trivial fix. It'll require a significant code update and numerous asset changes, which, in case you guys don't know, if people aren't familiar with coding and programming, in order to make the area effect spells look different for everybody, they have to go pop it back into the 3D modelers, have to get their, get the 3D modelers of their team in there, have them sit there and modify colors, modify things, test it, make sure it works, it doesn't bug out, test. Now we got to go to the next ability, and you're going through like 50 abilities, 100 abilities. It literally takes Like if 3 people are working on it, it's still going to take like, you know, 150 hours or 70 hours or something of work to get everything fine-tuned, at least at the visual quality that we expect from a game like this. Now, obviously, if you're running like Stardew Valley or RimWorld, okay, then yeah, I'd expect this to be done in like 15 hours, 10 hours of work, but that's not the case on such a high graphical game. So then on to War. So for War, as stated above, the lag and exploits in War have hurt the experience. But here's some crazy news, guys. And I really hope this time it works, because last time they said something like this, but they weren't. I think last time they were like, we think it'll work, and we hope it'll work, but this isn't definitive. This time they're saying it pretty definitively. So they're saying, with the patch coming out this week, most of the major issues should be resolved. There have been some complaints about War happening too often. There's a 24-hour cooldown, so they kind of just they get back to this in a second. So they're saying, well, they think War is not. They think War is happening just the right amount, but they're keeping an eye on it basically, and they think owning multiple territories should be very hard, and that's not what they're balancing War cooldowns towards, is like being able to just sit there and hold them forever. They're also continuing to review balance with War. So they're saying currently defenders win about 80% of wars, which I could believe, and they want to reward defending companies that build up their ranks and upgrade their forts. And they're keeping an eye on it as they resolve exploits, make sure both sides have a chance. And then they'll get back to this in a second. We'll get on with that in a minute. But they also know that communication coordination of War is not optimal. Now, this one's huge. I don't know if you've ever been in charge of setting up who goes into the war, but it is hard to know what roles participants in War have chosen, so it makes coordination difficult. And it does. I have someone in my company, and he spends literally 3 hours before the war, like private messaging everybody who's going to be in the war. What weapons do you use? Are you going to be on? Can you do siege? Like blah blah blah. Or, you know, what's your gear score? On, and just having to. Oh, the hell he has to go through is insane, guys. You have no idea how bad it is. And then we will begin investigating ways of addressing these issues, but don't have anything planned in the near term. So they don't have any fixes for this yet, but from the sounds of it, they hopefully will. They're looking at it and thinking about it. They do want to change something. They don't know how to do it yet, though. So my guesstimate on this would be expect by sometime in December to have this be addressed. Maybe the end of November at the earliest, but it's going to be at least like 3 to 7 weeks or something before we could expect anything meaningful in this. Maybe even as high as 3 months, but they are definitely hoping to change that eventually. So if you can just hold out for a few weeks, maybe a few months, then you'll be okay, and they'll make it easier. Then the territory control. So guys, this is a lot of stuff, but we're on the last topic here, okay? Territory control. Overall, we're seeing territories change hands with decent regularity. As stated above, we want to favor the defenders, and seeing a good spread between factions on most servers. We do have 2 systems in place to help with faction balance. We allow players to switch factions, but don't allow them to switch to the dominant faction, which I'm sure all of you are aware of. We also increase the influence underdog factions earn for PvP faction missions to give them a better chance at earning the right to declare war. But we may need to do more, and I feel like they do, honestly. I agree with we may need to do more. We are watching faction balance on all servers, and if it becomes a general problem, we have a few ideas to help resolve it in interesting ways. Okay, now here's some stuff. Here's another giant, like, whoa, okay, if you guys are ready for this one. We also are aware that some territories, I'm looking at you, Everfall, produce a ton of tax income, while other towns can be much harder to support and upgrade. There is a change coming soon, which will help distribute a main tax income stream to every territory. We want to review the impact of the change before we make further changes, but there are some other changes we could make in the medium term if this is insufficient. So they're not saying this is in the medium term. They're saying if this doesn't work, they're looking at medium term to, like, when they say medium terms, I'm assuming they're meaning like 1 to 5 months, at like maybe 2 to 3 months would be a good middle ground for medium term is what I'm assuming. And maybe I'm off by a little bit here, but that's my guess. What they're saying, though, is this change is coming soon, not medium term. So whatever this main income tax stream to every territory is, my guess would be not this patch coming up this week, but it'd probably be sometime in November. At the absolute latest, early December would be my guesstimate. Now, I'm just guessing based on my perception of all this, so I could be wrong, but that's what I think personally. We'll see, though. We'll see how it pans out. And then as a last bit of good news for all territory flippers out there, there are some new PvP mission types coming to the game soon. If you are a PvPer, you're going to be thrilled to hear that. These changes serve 2 purposes. adding some much needed variety to the PvP missions, which, yes, please, God, please, oh my goodness, and helping to distribute the PvP action to multiple locations to spread out some of the large PvP zergs we're seeing, which is really important because we played, the streamers have all quit on our server now for the most part, but we had Dr. Lupo on our server, and we still have Courage JD on our server, and we had other big streamers. So what would happen is you'd be like, okay, we're going to take Windsward. And then all the streamer has to do is say, oh, they're taking Windsward. Literally 250 people would show up to fight you, and it was impossible. And there's only one place we go. We just go run North Windsward and cut some trees. They just have to go there, and we're done. We can't do it now. So hopefully them adding different locations will make it a little more viable to fight an uphill battle against a giant, like, streamer zerg. Also, please let us know what you think about these changes when they go live soon. Oh, so maybe this will be in the... Dude, the way that sounds, that makes it sound like it might just be in the next patch, but maybe not. We'll see. It's hopefully in November, though, for this one. So also, if you guys want to let them know what you think about these changes when they go live, be sure to make an account on the official New World Forum and let them know what you think when all this goes live. I'm sure they would appreciate it as long as you're civil and your discourse is reasonable and kind and all that. Thanks for reading, and please feel free to post any follow-up questions or concerns you might have, and I'll try to address the top issues in a follow-up in a few days or a week's time. Well, guys, that's it. That's crazy amount of changes coming in the next few weeks and couple months that they're planning. That's great news so far. For me personally, 100% of what they said, I think, are just fantastic ideas. Now, how it gets executed, please, geez, oh my God, let it not just somehow bring about gold duplication exploits when they add these patches. But as long as these patches come out without adding insane game-breaking things, then all these patches are going to be amazing for the game. It's going to help so much with so many things. I'm very excited about this. Well, I know that was a lot to take in all at once. It was for me, too, just reading the whole thing the first time by myself. But now you know what's going on with wars and all this. So hopefully this week we will stop having people standing still in wars when they're actually moving. Which, by the way, if it's still happening, tip for you guys, get on explosive cannons if you're on defense, because you can't see them, but you can at least crowd control them. You can just guess where they're at, and if you're hitting a big AoE, that's what I kept doing. I was the siege guy, and I was just guessing. I'd kind of watch, and it would unlag for a second. Oh, okay, there's a cluster over there, and I'd take a shot, so it was terrible. Let's hope this works. This is going to be one of the nicest changes coming to the game in a while. This will be really awesome. And I'm excited to see every single one of these changes coming. If you guys have any opinions on any of this, good or bad, feel free to comment and let it be known in the comments of this video. And hopefully I can give you guys more updates in the future. Be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with New World news, and also as well as New World money farming routes and different things that I post on this YouTube channel. But that's it for this update. Crazy PvP changes coming. I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited. It's looking actually really good. I can't wait to see all this roll out. But now you know what all the PvP changes coming to New World are in the near future.